Take the law into your own hands.
They better get these lines right. Hey y'all, it's Jazmin Watson. Welcome to season 2 of They Better Get These Lines Right, where we're delivering the 411 on all things redistricting. Redistricting is when the areas or boundaries that determine who represents you in government are changed. This process affects how money is spent on important things like healthcare, schools, and roads in your community. So it's a big deal because it impacts the resources and services that are important to you. This show is made possible by Alabama Values, a grassroots communications organization that uses the media and visual stories to raise awareness around what's happening on Alabama's political scene. Have you ever wondered how we really get to know what's happening in our communities across the U.S.? I'm talking about the details, the who, what, where, and how of our everyday lives. Well, that's where the American Community Survey, aka the ACS, comes in. And today, we're diving into what the ACS is, why it's super important, and how it even plays a role in things like redistricting. Let's get into it. So, what exactly is the American Community Survey? In simple terms, the ACS is an ongoing survey that provides data every year about the social, economic, housing, and demographic characteristics of America's communities. While the decennial census, which happens once every 10 years, give us a big picture snapshot, the ACS is like an ongoing video diary, capturing the day-to-day details that show how our lives and needs change over time. Together, they provide a full story of who we are and what we need to thrive. For a deeper dive into the decennial census, check out our episode, It's a Numbers Game, from season 1. The ACS is different from the census in a key way. While the census is a complete count, aka an enumeration of the population, the ACS is a sample survey, meaning it collects data from a smaller group of people and uses that to estimate trends for the entire population. But don't worry, this data is still pretty accurate and very valuable. What kind of data are we talking about? The ACS dives deep into a wide variety of topics, from education and employment to housing, transportation, broadband access, and more. It asks questions like, how long does it take you to get to work? Or do you rent or own your home? All this data helps us understand what's happening in communities across Alabama. Can we see the data? Yes. You can see all ACS data at census.gov, but don't panic. The information you provide is completely confidential. The Census Bureau takes privacy very seriously, so your answers are protected by law and used only for statistical purposes. What that means is the data publicly available has absolutely no identifying information whatsoever. The American Community Survey data is published in a few different ways. Each year, the Census Bureau publishes ACS one-year estimates for geographic areas with populations of 65,000 or more. They also publish one-year estimates for communities of 20,000 people or more, called supplemental estimates, which are simplified versions of commonly used statistical information. What about communities that are smaller than 20,000 people? Remember, the ACS is a survey, and a survey's accuracy depends on the sample size. So, for geographic areas with smaller populations, the ACS samples too few housing units to provide reliable single-year estimates. So what do? For these areas, several years of data are pulled together to create more precise multi-year estimates, aka the 5-year ACS data. But the 5-year estimates aren't just for small communities. It's the combination of all 5 years of data in a geographic area. So if you live in a city, you get both yearly updated data and 5-year estimates. The 5-year estimates are more reliable and more accurate, but they obviously take longer to come out. The 1-year estimates have a higher margin of error, but they can give much needed updates in a quickly growing area. So, when is the ACS conducted? It's actually a continual survey, meaning that every single month, people in our communities are getting the American Community Survey in their mailbox. By running this survey continuously, the Census Bureau is able to produce data like clockwork. Take the ACS 1-year estimates, for example. That data covers a single calendar year from January to December. So, why should you care about the ACS? Well, this data isn't just sitting on a shelf collecting dust. It's actively used to make decisions that impact your daily life. In fact, the ACS helps determine how federal and state funds are distributed each year. That's money for schools, hospitals, roads, public transportation, and so much more. If your community is growing, the ACS data can lead to increased funding for things like new schools or expanded healthcare services. If a community is struggling, the ACS can highlight those needs too. Now, you might be thinking, okay, all of this sounds good, but how does the ACS affect me personally? Well, the truth is, it touches almost every aspect of your life, even if you don't realize it. So, why are we talking about ACS here? Isn't this a show about redistricting? Well, the ACS all impacts redistricting. For example, ACS 5-year estimates are used to forecast whether or not states will gain congressional districts, lose congressional districts, or keep the same number of districts. In 2020, Alabama was forecasted to lose a congressional district because of our slow growth rate of only 2.6% from 2010 to 2019. But the estimates were all wrong. Alabama grew over 5% and kept all 7 of our congressional districts, which is what set us up to win Allen versus Milligan and get 2 congressional districts where Black voters have the power to choose their representation. But it means more than a congressional seat, and that means a lot. Underestimating the number of people in our communities means that our communities lose out on funding and resources that we should have all gotten all along. So, whether you've been asked to participate in the ACS or you're just learning about it for the first time, now you know why it's so important. The ACS relies on responses from people like you to provide the data that shapes our community. When you take the time to fill it out, you're directly contributing to your future and the future of your community. For more resources on how you can help your community get counted, check out downforthecountAL.org, where you can find educational materials, myth-busting fact sheets, and how-to videos. Tune in next time to They Better Get These Lives Right to stay connected and informed. The way the maps are drawn has an impact on so many issues that we care about, such as voting rights, healthcare, criminal justice, reproductive justice, and education equality. Until next time, they better get these lives right.